Okay, what's going on, guys? For this week, week 9, I'll do a new thing, and then next week, the last week, I think it's the last week, I'll just do some review stuff over what you kind of should retain. Now, this is new. It's a little bit complicated, but so just follow along. You got to solve the system of equations. Now, I'm going to go over a problem that we did last week. So that's a system of equations. You have two equations and there's two variables. You got to solve for both the variables. That's your job. Okay, so what you need to do first is make walls, and if you have a letter by itself on one side of the wall, which we do with the Y, it could be X or Y, you want to box it, label that your base, and then circle the other side. So what you're going to do then is you're going to write the other equation, 3x plus 4y equals 7. Now whatever your letter is, that's the base, the one all by itself, the y, you parenthesize that, then slash it out, and above it you're going to replace y with the expression x plus 3. Okay, so we have rewrite the equation, line up your equals, so you have 3x plus 4, make a parentheses, and in the parentheses you put x plus 3, and then put 7. Okay, now we solve for x, so we put a 1 with that x, put a times dot, and then you do the rainbows, okay, into the parentheses. So 4 times 1x is 4x, cross out the 1x, and then 4 times 3 is 12. Now remember to add the 3x to your equation, and then you have 4x plus 12 plus 3x equals 7. So you got equals 7. You need to add the x's. 4x plus 3x is 7x plus 12. And now finally I can do the wall, the dot, and the circle. So I have plus 12, so I'm minus 12. So 7 dot x equals 7 minus 12 is negative 5. So then I divide by 7. Now it's going to be a decimal, but that's okay. So I take negative 5 divided by 7. That's going to be negative 0.7 for the x. Now to find the y, use the one where the y is by itself. Okay, so y equals x plus 3. Now you have your answer for x, so just replace x with negative 0.7. So we have y equals negative 0.7 plus 3. Now the wall goes up. I don't need to dot it because the y is by itself, so I can just add them. That's why you want to use the one. It's less work when you use the one where that letter is by itself. So y is equal to 2.3. So once y is by itself, and that's what we did in the video last week. Now I'm going to go over 6 problems, and you now need to learn a new strategy for this because this way doesn't always work, and I'm going to explain why here in a bit. We have 3x plus 3y equals 27. Then you have x minus 3y equals negative 11. You're solving for x, you're solving for y. But now you have a problem. When you make the wall, you don't see either of the variables x or y by themselves. Okay? So you don't have a base. So you need to learn another method. Okay? The method that you're using here is known as the substitution method. Now you're going to learn the elimination method. Here's what elimination is. You're going to underline the whole problem. You're going to put 1 and then plus negative, and you're going to make a little line off the side and you're going to write plus or minus. What your goal is to either get the x's or the y's to 0, okay? You can accomplish that one of 2 ways. You can add them, and if that or that's 0, that's good. And if that doesn't work, we'll subtract them. So first, I take 3 plus 1, that's not 0. Okay, now go to your y's. Take your 3 plus negative 3, that's 0. Nice. So what you can do then, you want to add, okay, cross out subtract, then you don't need to do that. You can cross that out since it became 0. Now line up your equals, and then you add. 3 plus 1 is 4x on that side. Then on the other side with my numbers without the variables, I take 27 and I plus negative 11, 16. So now wall goes up, dot circle, you just need to divide, and x equals 4. Now y, you don't have an equation where y is by itself, so just use the very first equation in the problem. Okay, you can use any equation in the problem. I usually pick the very first one. So just write out 3x plus 3y equals 27. Now we have our answer for x. Okay, x is 4. I'm putting that 4 in for x. 3 times 4, circle it. So 3 times 4 is 12, and then add your 3y. Now to get your y answer, you can now wall and circle 3 times y. Get rid of that 12 since it's positive, I subtract it. 27 minus 12 is 15, and we have 3 dot y. So then I divide by 3, and y equals 5. So again, let me kind of retrace my steps here. So it didn't have a letter by itself, so I underlined it, made the wall, wrote plus or minus. So I add the plus the x's, didn't get 0. Plus the y's, 3 plus negative 3 is 0, so I crossed it out. Then I added the rest of it. 3 plus 1 is 4x, 27 plus negative 11 is 16. And then from there, I think you'll understand it, but it's that first part that's fun. But I'm going to keep going over it to get the repetition in. So by the end of the video, hopefully it's good. 2x plus 4y equals 22. 2x minus 2y equals negative 8. So we have to solve for x, we have to solve for y. And again, you don't have the luxury of having a base letter that's all by itself. Look at those walls. See, there's crap with the x's and the y's. You don't have it all by itself. So underline, make the line plus or minus. Okay, so we plus, remember I need to get, I put these together and these together, add or subtract. One of them needs to be a 0. That's the goal. So let's try to plus. If I take 2 plus 2, that's 4. So I can't do that. Take the y's. Take your 4 plus negative 2. That's not 0 either, so plus doesn't work. Now try minus. Well, I think that's going to work, because what's basic math, elementary math, what's 2 minus 2? This 2 minus this 2, that's 0. So you can cross it out. Now line up your equals and do the rest of it. Minus is the operation you're doing. So take 4 minus the negative 2. That's 6. The reason why it's 6, because remember we usually go plus plus. So that would be 6y. Then I take 22 minus the negative 8. Remember, you don't put 8. You got to make sure you put negative 8. That's 30, because that's like plus plus. Ball goes up, dot circle. And if I divide, I have my answer for y. 30 divided by 6 is 5. So y is 5. Now to find your x, write your first equation. 2x plus 4y equals 22. So I'm going to put 5 in for y because that's the answer. 4 times 5. So we have 2x, and then 4 times 5 is 20, so I need to write plus 20. Then the wall goes up, dot and circle. So I'm minus 20. Minus 20. 22 minus 20 is 2. And then we have 2 dot x. Now I can divide by 2 and I have my answer. X equals 1. 1 and 5. Okay, next problem, we have 4x minus 7y, put that as plus negative, equals 3. Then I have x plus negative 7y equals negative 15. Now again, the walls go up because you can't, again, you have to use the other method. You can't use a box. Okay, so underline, write plus or minus. Try to plus first. So 4 plus 1, no, that's not 0. Now take the negative 7 plus the negative 7, that's negative 14. So neither one of those work when you add. Now try to minus. 4 minus 1, no, 4 minus 1 is 3. Now take your negative 7 minus the negative 7. Oh, I got 0. So I want to roll with the subtraction. Cross those out because they became 0 when you subtract. So 4 minus 1 is 3, 3x. Then I take the 3 minus the negative 15, 18. Okay. Wall goes up, dot circle, so I divide by 3. And 18 divided by 3 is 6. That's the answer for x, because 4 minus 1 is 3, 3x. Okay, now solve for your y. Use your first equation. 4x plus negative 7y equals 3. So x is 6, so I replace the x with 6. Remember to replace the right letter. It's x at 6. Don't put 6 there. Okay, so 4 times 6, that's 24. And then I add negative 7y. So wall goes up, dot circle. So 24. I need to subtract 24. Okay, 3 minus 24 is negative 21. Now let's divide. Okay, negative 21 divided by negative 7 is positive 3. So 6 and 3. Okay, now, next one. 3x plus y equals 5. 2x plus negative, remember if it's minus, write it as plus negative, equals plus negative 2. So we got to solve for x, we got to solve for y. Okay, so the walls go up, you don't have a letter by itself. That y is not by itself, okay? For that to be by itself, that 3x cannot be over there, okay? So we can't do this. We need to put the 1 plus or minus. Try to plus 3 plus 2. Remember, you're putting these together and these together. You don't really care what happens over here. It's all about the x's and the y's. So 3 plus 2, that's 5. How about 1 plus negative 2? That's negative 1. So the plus don't work. Remember, you got to get them to 0. Minus. 3 minus 2, well that's 1, so that doesn't work. How about 1? 1 minus negative 2. Well, that's going to be 3. So neither of them work, so what do you do now? Well, you're going to use a little strategy known as the rewrite. And the rewrite always works when this fails. Here's how to do the rewrite. Look at your x's, only zone in on your x's. You have a 2 here, so write times 2 on top. You have a 3 here, so write times 3 right there. This always works. Now, if I'm multiplying this 3x by 2, I need to multiply everything else in this equation by 2. And likewise here, if I'm multiplying this by 3, I need to multiply everything else here by 3. It maintains the equation balance. What you do to one side, you have to do the other. Now you're going to rewrite the new system. So 2 times 3x is 6x. 2 times 1y is 2y. Then 2 times 5 is 10. Now on the bottom, 2x times 3 is 6x. Negative 2 times 3 is negative 6y. Then negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Now you try this again. I guarantee you one of them works. Trust me. Okay? Might not be the plus, but one of them's got to work. 6 plus 6, well, that's 12. 2 plus negative 6, well, that's probably not 0. Okay? What happens when you minus 6 minus 6? Basic elementary math. 6 minus 6 is 0. So I'm going to use the minus. Now be careful with the rest of it. You take 2 from the top, minus is your operation, and then negative 6. It's going to be 8, 8y. Then you take your 10 from the top, minus is your operator, negative 6, and that's 16. So the wall goes up, dot circle, divide by 8, and y equals 2. Okay. Now find the x. Use the very first equation. Even if you did the rewrite, use the very first equation. Okay. 3x plus 1y equals 5. So y is 2. So get that y out of there, put it 2. And take 1 times 2. 1 times 2 is 2. So you have 3x plus 2, wall, dot circle. And minus 2. 5 minus 2 is 3. 3 dot x. Then divide by 3. And 3 divided by 3 is 1. So x equals 1. Okay, got it. I'm going to do 2 more like that. So if plus or minus doesn't work at the beginning like it did, you have to do the rewrite. You take 2, 2, 2, 2, 3, 3, 3, 3, and then plus or minus will work. Alright, next one we have 6x plus 4y equals 42. Then we have 3x plus negative 3y. If it's minus on the document, write it as plus negative. Walls go up. Again, you can't use the box because you don't have a letter by itself. Okay, so you use the elimination method. Okay, underline, put plus or minus. 6 plus 3, well that's 9. Didn't get to 0 there. 4 plus negative 3. Remember, I'm doing plus first, checking plus. Nope, didn't work for either here or here, so plus is out. Okay, try to minus them. 6 minus 3, that's 3. Okay. 4 minus negative 3, well, that's 7. So neither of them work at the beginning, so you do the rewrite. So look at these two. 3, you're going to times 3 here. 6, you're going to times 6 here. But then you got to times the rest of them by 3 on top and the rest of them by 6 on the bottom. So 6 times 3x is 18x. 3 times 4y is 12y. And then 3 times 42 is 126. So on the bottom you get 18x, negative 3 times 6 is negative 18y, 6 times 6 is 36. Now try it again, plus or minus, okay? 18 plus 18 is 36, okay? So that doesn't work. What's 12 plus, and you're still only worried about what's over here. You don't care about that, okay? It's the letters you want to get to 0. Now take 12 plus negative 18. Nope, didn't work. Now try minus. Well, 18 minus 18, that's 0. Okay, so minusing works. Now take your 12 from the top minus your negative 18, and that's 30. So 30y. Now take your 126 and minus the 36. It's 90. All goes up, dot circle, so divide by 30, and that's 3. Okay, use your top equation. 6x plus 4y equals 42. Okay, so the y is 3. Okay. So we want to replace a y with 3. So 4 times 3 is 12. Okay. Wall goes up, dot circle, minus 12, minus 12. 42 minus 12 is 30, so 6 dot x equals 30. Then divide by 6, and that's 5. Okay, so 5 and 3. Okay, one last problem. 5x minus 9y equals negative 43. And then 3x plus 8y equals 68. Okay, so well, obviously when you look at that problem, there's no letters by itself, so you have to use the elimination strategy, plus or minus. See, if you get something to add or subtract to 0, you eliminate it. So try to plus first. Make that 9 plus negative, and that 43 plus negative. So we're going to try to add. 5 plus 3 is not 0. Okay, so it doesn't work there. Negative 9 plus 8. That ain't 0 either, so plus, you can't plus right there. Try to minus. 5 minus 3 is 2. Okay, so it doesn't work there. Then negative 9 minus 8. So none of them work. I tried 4 things, none of them get to 0. Because I tried 2 things with the plus, 2 things with the minus. If they all fail, you do the rewrite. So we have a 3 here and a 5 here. So we'll times the rest of this by 3 and the rest of this by 5. So 3 times 5x is 15x. Negative 3 times negative 9 is negative 27y, and then write the equals. You got to keep your equals lined up. And then 3 times negative 43 is negative 129. Okay, bottom 3x times 5 is 15x. 8y times 5 is 40y. And then I take 68 times 5, that's 340. Okay, so try it. Now do the same thing. When you do the rewrite, one of them works, I promise. Usually it's not the plus. 15 plus 15 is 30, okay? And then negative 27 plus 40, no, that doesn't work either. So the plus doesn't work. I don't even care about what happens over here, okay? Minus. What's 15 minus 15, brah? 15 minus 15 is 0. Now you take your negative 27 minus 40, and that's negative 67. Why? Now go over here and you take your negative 129 minus 340. Negative 469. Now you just dot and circle and you go straight to dividing. Probably need a calculator for that. Negative 469 divided by negative 67, it's 7. Okay. So the y is 7. Now, we got the answer for y. We have to get our answer for x now. Okay, use the very first equation. 5x plus negative 9y equals negative 43. So put your y answer in for y. Okay, so you got 5x, negative 9 times 7 is negative 63. Wall goes up, dot circle. You want a plus 63. That gives you 20. And then 5 dot x. Then divide by 5, divide by 5. 20 divided by 5 is 4. Okay, so there we have it, 4 and 7.